Hey everyone, welcome back to another video on Mono Sports Talk, and today we're going to be talking about some of the top storylines after Week 17's games took place, and as we head into the final week of the season, a lot of great storylines to talk about, including Comeback Player of the Year, the very tight race in that, who's MVP right now, and how the NFC playoff race is shaping out. Let's get into it.
You're my first interview since I got injured, so you're lucky. You're a good journalist.
You can compare your swing, the good one and the bad one, so you can see like the difference.
I'd like to notice that, man.
I love it, man. I appreciate how good, glad that makes me feel.
To be honest.
So first of all, for Comeback Player of the Year, I think that has turned into a really, really tight race. You have Joe Flacco, who's really taken over all of a sudden over the last 5 games. He's had a 4-1 record, 13 touchdown passes, 8 picks, over 1,600 yards passing. The Browns are 7-4 when he came in. They're 11-5. They've clinched a playoff spot. They're looking like they can go deep in the playoffs because of Joe Flacco and the way he's playing. And I think that just taking a look at his performance, I think that Joe Flacco should win Comeback Player of the Year over Damar Hamlin, which is obviously quite a huge surprise here, and some people may not, agree with this. But when you take a look at Damar Hamlin, of course, tremendous story. Tons and tons of respect to Damar, not diminishing it at all. What he had to go through on the field, he was not alive for 8 minutes on the field. He was clinically dead for about 8 to 9 minutes on the field before he was revived, and it was a comeback for the ages. It was something that you just don't see, and it was so great to see him back and healthy and the way he is right now. Just a tremendous comeback in life. But, all the respect to Damar once again. I think it's just such a blessing for him, but to be where he is right now, and it's so amazing to see all the support from him. At the same time, I think to win Comeback Player of the Year, you have to have a case on the field. It can't just be a comeback in life. It certainly, he has the greatest comeback in life that we've seen, but on the football field, I think you have to have some sort of an impact in football, on the football field, with your team to be able to win this award. And unfortunately, I just don't think he's there. He's only made 2 tackles this entire season, has hardly played. And I just don't think it would be there. If there was not a whole really strong candidate, for sure it would go to him. But at this point, the way with Joe Flacco, the way he's playing, tremendous. 300 yards in the last 4 games, including 368 and 372, 60% completion and a 90% rating. I mean, these are great numbers. And you talk about some other players who'll come back. Why not John Mechie, too, if you're trying to include Hamlin? I think Mechie, he came back from leukemia in just 1 year. And he's actually played a lot more than Damar Hamlin and made an impact. You talk about 15 catches for 153 yards. He's made a catch in pretty much every single game. So he's honestly contributed more on the field than Damar Hamlin. And coming back from cancer, that's not a joke right there. But I think when you're talking about Comeback Player of the Year, it's obviously the certain comeback that you've had, but then the impact on the football field. And unfortunately, an incredible story that is Damar Hamlin. I just don't think it matches up on the football field. And then you talk about Baker Mayfield, who had a case. I just don't think he's going to get it at this point. You lost 23-13 to the Saints in a big game to win the division. He threw 2 picks. Otherwise, almost 4,000 yards passing, 28 touchdowns, 10 picks. The Bucs are 8-8. It's a great year for him, but at the same time, Baker was playing good as well last year with the Rams. So I don't think it's going to be Baker Mayfield at this point. I'd go with Joe Flacco at this point. What a surprise for him. And then you talk about MVP. I think that's quite an easy decision at this point. It's become an easy decision over the past 2 weeks. It is Lamar Jackson from the Ravens. I think he's going to win his second MVP. He's pretty much wrapped up the award with these incredible performances versus 2 of the top 3 teams in the NFL versus the 49ers and the Dolphins. McCaffrey has been great. But at this point, you're going to give it to Lamar Jackson, the quarterback, and I would too. He's absolutely killed it the last 2 games. Just look at what he did against the Miami Dolphins. A perfect passer rating, 86% completion, 18 out of 21, which is kind of ridiculous. 320 yards and 5 touchdowns, which is absurd. He cooked against the Dolphins. And then you look at the 49ers, that tough team on the road. 23 out of 35, 252, 66% completion, and 2 touchdown passes, no picks. That was a great game from him. And then you look at the game before that versus the Rams, 216 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. This Ravens team is the best team in the league. They're 13-3. They're on a 6-game winning streak. You're going to give it to him. The way he's been playing, this team gone to another level. Also include the 821 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns that he's had on the ground. And then you have the 24 total touchdowns, 7 picks, almost 3,700 yards passing, and a 65 QBR, which is 4th in the NFL. So Lamar's just wrapped it up. When you play that good against the Dolphins and 49ers in a year that an MVP is not strong, the race is just not too strong yet. McCaffrey and you had Tyreek Hill. And then the way Lamar played against the Dolphins, Tyreek's had some injury issues. Lamar's just been the consistent guy. So you give it to Lamar Jackson. I think CMC should win Offensive Player of the Year. But most valuable player, it's Lamar Jackson. And finally, in the NFC, we have a crazy race, specifically in the NFC East. You talk about the Eagles and Cowboys, that race for the number 2 seed in the NFC. The 49ers have locked up the number 1. It's going to be an extremely close race. The Lions are in the 3 spot. The NFC South champ, the Bucs, will go in 4. And then the Rams are locked into 6. Packers more than likely will get the 7. So 2 and 5 between the Eagles and Cowboys, and it just flipped. All of a sudden, the Eagles just lose a terrible game to the Cardinals, which severely hurted their chances of winning the division. That leaves the door absolutely wide open for the Dallas Cowboys to come in and get the division win all of a sudden. Eagles defense was not good versus the Cardinals. The Cardinals were terrible, 3-12 coming into this game. Kyler threw for 232 yards, 3 touchdowns. His 1 pick was a pick 6 that went 99 yards. But otherwise, Kyler was great. James Conner was terrific, over 100 yards. And that touchdown. Meanwhile, Jalen Hurts, 170 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 pick. A.J. Brown only 4 catches for 53 yards. And then you talk about the Cardinals on the road. They came back from a 21-6 deficit. That is tremendous. And then James Conner gave them the lead with 32 seconds left. A great drive to win 35-31. The Eagles only had 275 total yards. The Cardinals had almost 400 total yards. I mean, that is a flip-flop right there. Not what you expect from this team that are reeling right now. The Cardinals had double the time of possession. The Eagles, if they want to win this division, they'd have to go to New York and beat the Giants and hope the Cowboys lose to the Commanders, which I just don't think is going to happen. The Eagles 11-5. They lost 4 out of their last 5 games. They only had a 33-25 win over the Giants the week before. Meanwhile, the Cowboys, they squeaked by the Lions 20-19. One of the most, talked about moments was that illegal formation. Did not report as eligible number 70 on the Lions, I believe. So it was an ineligible man downfield, and that allowed the Cowboys to win, as the Lions had the 21-20 win, but they called it back and the Cowboys won. So that was a little helpful, but at the same time, I guess 70 didn't clearly report as eligible to the ref, to where the ref noticed it. A little bit of a referee problem, but at the same time, the Lions that went for 2-3 times, there was no need for that. You could have kicked the extra point and gone into overtime, but you decided to go for it 3 times, including a couple of times from the 5-yard line. I don't know what you were thinking there. I understand you want to finish this game, but again, you could have kicked the extra point. Sometimes the referees aren't going to go your way. Cowboys, on the other hand, Dak Prescott played great, 345 yards, 2 touchdowns, only 1 pick. Dak has completely turned it around this year. Was looking like an MVP candidate. People are talking about him being a turnover machine last year, which is completely false. He's never been like that. That was just an off year from him, and he's come back and proven that. CeeDee Lamb, 230 yards on 13 catches and a touchdown, which is incredible. The defense picked off Goff 2 times. The Cowboys have the best kicker. The Cowboys haven't had the best season, but the door is wide open here. The Eagles have just given them a chance, golden opportunity to win the division, get a home playoff game against the number 7 seed, which should be a win. Then possibly against the number 3 Lions, you get another home playoff game where the Cowboys are 8-0 at home. that is a straight shot to the NFC Championship game, a place where this team has not reached since 1995. This is the year for them if they want to do it. Cowboys play calling has been too great, but they're hanging in there. They can play a little bit better. The defense has been spotty, but here they are. They have a shot, and the Cowboys can do it. We'll see what happens. So those are the main storylines. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hit the like, subscribe, comment what you think of what you thought of the video, and I'll see you in the next one.